All right. What's up, Dolphins fans? I am your host tonight. No Lewis. All right. Now can you hear me? Yes. I had Mike. Sorry about that, everybody. I was having microphone challenges there. You are watching the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am your extremely mid host, clearly, Ron, with the mic issues. We don't have Lewis tonight, so of course everything fell apart. We should have Alf anytime popping in here, and we're here to check the Pulse of Fins Nation. Obviously, the season started amazing, 3-0. Last three, not so well. And let's just see. Yes, we have sound, Leo says. Thanks, Leo. So good. I mean, I was really probably saying a bunch of nonsense anyway, so you didn't miss anything. But let's see, man. Manny, what you got for us, man? You got we got to read the prize picks thing. See, I'm all over the place here. Let's go for that. Let's read the good old prize picks there. If you could put the screen up there, and I will get to that because again, I am all over the place tonight. And here we go. All right. This show is brought to you by prizepicks.com, the revolutionary fantasy platform where you pick up to 5 different players across professional sports leagues, NFL, NBA, which starts tonight, I believe, MLB, one of each. It's up to you, and choose the over or under on those individual players' fantasy projections, whether that's individual stats or the classic fantasy point projections. They even send you freebie picks to take advantage of, like Tom Brady throwing over 1 yard in a game. How easy is that? So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up. Use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5. Spell that out. prizepicks.com, who we at 5 Reasons Sports are proud to have as our sponsor. All right. Well, it's been quite a rough last 3 games. We got there. Dave there. Is there where the feet talk? What now? Is this where the feet talk happens live? Oh, okay. That somebody must have been in the 3 yards per carry OnlyFans where there was some weird feet talk going on. But I promise you, it's not what you think, but it's probably even worse. All right, so we get Tua back. That's the big thing. That's the key for us. Obviously, he's been out 2.5 games. I personally feel like we would have definitely won that Minnesota game. I'm not sure about the Jets game. I think a lot of people wonder or think that maybe, but man, I don't know. The Jets just I feel like the Jets kind of caught us off guard a little bit. But I feel like we definitely would have won the Minnesota game. And I feel like we probably would have won the Cincinnati game. But let's at least say we'd have been 4-2. 4-2, we're looking pretty good. If we look ahead at the schedule before the season started, we'd have been really happy with 4-2. But we're not. We're 3-3. We're 3rd in the division. That's what kills me, with the Jets being being ahead of us, which is nuts. But they are. We're tied with the Patriots, even though we're a half game up on them because we beat them. But it's just we have to go on a streak now. We don't have a choice. We got to go on a streak. We got to be like 8-3, but I think we got a chance to do it. The Steelers just beat Tampa. I don't think Tampa is what they've been, but the Steelers just beat Tampa. So maybe they'll be a little tougher than we thought, not the walk we thought, but I feel like our defense our defense really played well against Minnesota. It definitely wasn't our defense that kept us from winning. We just couldn't get out of our own way with penalties. We had 5 on one drive. Ron, where is your confused half at? Lewis, you're late, bro. Let's go. Lewis, I didn't mention that. I mentioned it the first time, but I was having mic issues. Lewis is not with us tonight. Lewis is out of town, busy, hanging out with, I guess, the other half there in Texas. So no Lewis tonight. You just got Ron. We should be having Alf anytime. I would love Alf to come in and save me because I'm just sitting here talking to myself. But Manny, what do you think? You got some tweets for us to put up there, man. What you got? All right. So could you scroll down just a little bit so I can read the original tweet? All right. I said, okay, now that the game is over and you've had some time to let it set in, how's everybody feeling right now? Sorty, Fins or Die. Not that we promote a lot of other podcasts on here besides that aren't 5 Reasons, but Fins or Die has a podcast too. That's pretty funny. So you should check it out. But no matter what I send on this app, as nuanced as possible, 15 plus people will twist your words to argue something you aren't even saying. I have no idea what that word is. I'm sure somebody could explain to me myself than tweet lately. So, yeah, that's how Sorty's feeling. Dolphins Twitters. I mean, we all know, Manny, I don't know if you have this with Eagles Twitter, because I know you're an Eagles fan, our producer Manny in the background there, but man, Dolphins Twitter gets nuts when we lose, especially. When we lose, there's just no place in this world like Dolphins Twitter for better or for worse. Where you go? What's up, Manny?
What's up? No, I mean,
is Eagles Twitter like Dolphins Twitter? Like, I know you guys ain't lost for like a year, but like the last time, if you can remember back that far when you lost.
Well, I will probably tell you about the playoff game against the Bucs. It wasn't pretty, even though we were very happy to be there. But you have those type of fans that they were just, we were down, I think 21-0 or 28-0, or I'm not sure, and it just. It's that negative vibe was there, but we were actually very happy to just even make it. But I feel like with your situation, it's definitely different. Starting off 0-3, you're coming back. You do a great game comeback against the Ravens. You beat Buffalo. You beat the Patriots, right? So you think like this team now has it going, has it rolling. And then the most unfortunate part is that then you got to play on a short week in Cincy.
Yeah, that was kind of set up for a loss. I mean, we maybe could have wanted to stay, but those road games on Thursday after that Buffalo game, man, Yeah,
So
that was probably going to be a loss regardless.
So my thing with Twitter is Twitter wasn't invented 20 years ago, 15 years ago. So obviously the whole skepticism of the micromanage of being toxic and things like that, that wasn't there. Now today it is, right? So, it is what it is. This team hasn't been performing to its peak to what it's been, what it previously did, right?
And what I think it can do.
Well, that's the thing. We know they could do it, but we don't really know what's the vibe in that locker room. We can see the vibe on the football field, which is not the same as it was with the first 3 games, but we can see it on the field. But it's still a long season, guys. It's 17 weeks, but it's kind of hard to win games when your main position player is not on the football field, and that's something. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys are totally different, right? They have their defense. It is what it is.
They have a Super Bowl caliber defense.
That's what I'm trying to tell
people
Dolphins
don't want to admit it, but they got a Super Bowl caliber defense.
But then you'll have Dolphin fans that will tell you, "Hey, listen, but don't we have a Super Bowl caliber defense?"
I don't know. I see that.
Though.
Hey, no, maybe.
Which one are you going to give or take? Right.
I tell you what, if we have a Super Bowl caliber defense, it's still not Dallas caliber because that defense is pretty sick. I mean, Eagles still did the job; they got it done. Fantastic, but that's we just haven't had the defense. I mean, the defense tried to carry us this past week. I mean, they really tried. I mean, they held Kirk Cousins to 175 yards, and it was 11 3-and-outs. I mean, that's nuts. And we still lost the game. I mean, how many times are you gonna do that and lose a game? Dave says all the people who crapped on Tua now see he is QB1 and loved by the team. Exactly. Now that's a point that I've been making. Is one of the things that's happened here is clearly that he's QB1, man. I don't see any more controversy there. Say Cap for Life says the trade deadline is in 2 weeks, and that's midway through the season. I would start worrying if I were the Finns. So I'm just not sure what trades are available for us to make. I know I just saw some stuff that we're in the talks for either Cam Akers, which I don't know, man. That Rams are a decent team. I always get nervous about a player who's underperforming just because, oh, hey, Alf, how's it going?
Hey,
just because they're when a player's underperforming and we really don't have a good or a great explanation for it, like Akers, I get nervous. McCaffrey, on the other hand, we know when the guy's on the field, he's money. But is he going to be on the field? I just don't know what trades we're going to make. I think it's weird that we're talking running backs anyway, but apparently it's Miami. Now if you could speak to it, somebody was just talking about the trade deadline in 2 weeks. So I brought up the only things I've really seen that seem actually viable, which surprises me, is the running back. Like, do the Dolphins feel like they're missing like that? I mean, I didn't feel like it was, but do they feel like they need that? Maybe it's Edmonds. He just ain't it, that they like Mostert, but they need another 1-2 guy to go with Mostert.
Well, they kind of shuffled the running back room, it seemed, this week, right? Zaquandre White got sent away. They had a bunch of guys working out to try to fill that last spot. The guy that they settled on was Michael Pirine.
Yeah, didn't he used to play for the
Jets?
The Jets. I thought he played for some reason. I thought he played for the as you call them, the Commodores, the Commanders. Did he play for the Commanders too? I think. Well, back before they were the Commanders.
I'm not sure. I'm
not sure. I don't really think he's been anything special in the league, but we only signed him to the practice squad. It's not like we brought him in to be our first string running back.
Yeah, he's a guy that he runs with a little bit of power. He's different than what they have right now, but it's. As far as Christian McCaffrey, like, why would they want somebody like Christian McCaffrey? I think it makes a lot of sense as far as their passing game goes, and for some of the things that they want to call. I don't know if you found it any interesting or not. I guess we'll see for sure Sunday night as they have their full complement on offense. They're going to have Tua Tagovailoa back. I like to see how they incorporate Edmonds, because I've gotten the sense like they've kind of out on Edmonds for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you feel the same way or not, but
I was actually, even maybe 3 weeks ago, even when we were winning, I was kind of talking about how I made a couple mentions about, man, Edmonds, I don't know. He just seems, I thought we'd at least get him in the pass game more. And I thought that's where his strength was going to be in preseason a little bit. Obviously, it's a really small sample. We saw him do some nice things and have some nice plays. And I thought that's really where they're going to use Edmonds. And then all of a sudden it just hasn't happened. And obviously Mostert's running the ball, but we don't really throw it to him very much. And I think you're right. That's part of the game we're missing is we're missing a receiving running back. So maybe that's really what they're after and why they're interested in McCaffrey. Not that he's just a receiving running back, but he definitely can do that.
Yeah, and as far as everybody else talking about Brian Burns and Taylor Matone, first of all these guys are going to make too much money. They can't afford any of them, all right? Taylor Matone makes $24 million a year.
Yeah, no, we don't have the room for that.
Okay, so they can't fit that in. Like, does he fit? Oh, absolutely. He's a Pro Bowl right tackle, so who wouldn't want a Pro Bowl right tackle? But you got to make choices with the salary cap, okay? And, they just can't fit him in. Brian Burns is a one-dimensional pass rusher. They got pass rushers on the team. Trust me when I tell you they don't need another one, okay? And, and he's also going to be extremely expensive. McCaffrey's the one that kind of does make sense, if they could try to fit him in. His contract, I believe, has 2 more years on it. It's a lot of money, but you could see how you could shuffle around the money, possibly ship Cedric Wilson out of town. Gesicki goes
to Green Bay, right?
Year.
Green Bay is looking for wide receivers, apparently.
Possibly
thinking about Claypool or
and then you just run it with Gesicki this year, and then at the end of the season, you're gonna have to make a choice. Yeah, obviously, one of the choices is gonna have to be a much cheaper tight end. And then you could possibly keep McCaffrey, and he's here part of the long-term solution, right? You already have a great.
Is he healthy right now? I'll assume he's got to be healthy right now if they're talking.
He looked great on Sunday. I saw a lot of his play on Sunday, and I watched some snaps. He looks great as health-wise. He looked great on Sunday. Like, he got fed, and he played pretty well. He's never really had durability issues until these last 2 years, but that's usually how it works, right? Like,
with running backs.
Guys are usually really durable for a long time, and then all of a sudden it goes south on them, right? And, that's probably what happened to Christian McCaffrey. But other than these last 2 years, he's been remarkably durable. But, it's a roll of a dice, right? Because that's an expensive running back. And that's part of the reason why people don't like to spend money on running backs, because they miss so much time, But who knows? Look at Frank Gore. Frank Gore blew out both knees at University of Miami, then couldn't get hurt in the NFL. He was one of the most durable running backs in the history of the sport. So yeah, McCaffrey, I would have some interest in Christian McCaffrey if people, because it kind of does make sense. It makes sense for this offense.
I mean, if he's on the field, we haven't had much from the running game. We've had nothing from a running back to catch the ball out of the backfield. Like, there's just been nothing. So it's part of the offense we're missing. We haven't had Tua. We haven't had, I say Austin Jackson with a little tongue in cheek, but the Austin Jackson we saw in the first few games before we got hurt is better than the Greg Little we've seen since he got hurt. So let's at least admit that, and we'll take it for what it is. We didn't have TA this past game, so we'll get TA back, Austin Jackson, Tua. If somehow we could pull out grabbing McCaffrey too and get some games from him. I really like that. If this defense that we saw this past Sunday is the same defense that's going to start to show up now, man, we could be fired, man. We could be really good, especially in this softer part of the schedule that we're coming into. Now I did see, and I don't know if you can bring up, Manny, if you can able to bring it back up. I saw when Alf was talking, somebody mentioned something about Tua and his injury prone and how people had talked about that, and that's a consideration. But Alf, I think you would know this better than me, and maybe it's hyperbole. So tell me if I'm overthinking this or being hyperbolic here. Yes, Tua missed games last year. Yes, Tua missed this year. But let's be honest. How many games did Tua miss last year that he shouldn't have because Flores held him out because he really truly thought that somehow Jacoby Brissett was better? And in any other world and maybe any other team, and especially before this new protocol stuff, Tua plays this past Sunday. He cleared protocol on Thursday, Friday? Mm-hmm. Even any other time and any other team, Tua plays. Like Tua's not always the last couple. Yes, he's missed games because he got hurt. He got the rib injury. He did have a finger issue last year, so he would have missed games. I feel like he's missed more games though, just for exigent circumstances. Do you agree with that, or am I just being too much of a fan for saying that?
I completely agree with it. Last year, for sure, he was put on IR unnecessarily, in my estimation. Last year, it's kind of a known fact that the noise was pretty loud around the team that he was quote unquote coming back for the Colts game. Okay. Which would have meant, he would have missed the Raider game for injury, which was his rib injury. He was put on IR that week, and then he was just held out. And then you had that Ravens game, which was the weirdest of them all, where he
went golfing the day before or something.
He went golfing the morning of.
Yeah, that's not like, oh, Tua's lazy and doesn't want to play. He'd rather golf. That's the whole. Tell me you're ready to play without telling me you're ready to play. Tell me you're healthy without actually telling me you're healthy. That was him telling the world, hey, I'm healthy and they're jerking me around here. In my opinion, it was kind of like a passive aggressive. That's about as passive aggressive as you'll see Tua get.
Yeah, and he didn't have his eye black on or anything, and then all of a sudden he gets thrust into the game, and he plays well against the Ravens. He didn't look like he was injured,
And pulls out the win.
But man,
because he wasn't injured anymore, Alf. That's the thing. So
yeah.
So he's missed more games, and I truly feel in any other world outside of the new protocols, and if I think Mike McDaniel had to make it look good, there was no way he could play Tua this Sunday. Normally, if your starting quarterback who is clearly better than your other quarterbacks, especially when you're talking about starting your third string, normally even a day or two before. If he clears protocol, if Aaron Rodgers cleared protocol on Friday, he's starting. Tom Brady clears protocol on Friday, he's starting. I mean, period, end of story. Josh Allen clears, he's starting. Like, we only had to hold him out because of the optics. So he's been held out more games and had to miss more games than he should have because of, bullshit. In my opinion, bullshit. So that's just how I feel about it. So yes, there is something to the availability. I mean, we watched Josh Allen go out there and just be a monster and just get pounded and never miss a minute. And obviously, Tua can't take those kinds of hits. And he needs to protect himself better too.
But in 2019, Josh Allen against the Patriots was completely laid out and was carted off the field because he was completely knocked out for about 6-7 minutes against the Patriots. He was diagnosed with a concussion. He played the following week. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the more I see this, and by the way, Kenny Pickett is practicing today.
I saw that.
He had a concussion on Sunday.
And he was actually diagnosed. Was he diagnosed with a concussion, or did he get caught up in the concussion protocol? Oh, he wobbled. Take him out. I mean, which was it?
His injury designation was concussion, and he didn't have anything else wrong with him. But more importantly, Freiermuth, their tight end, did leave the game with a concussion the previous week, and now he's back practicing again. Yeah, and we know what happened with T. Higgins, and we know what happened with Chris Olave. It seems like
Brate.
It seems with Cameron Brate.
Yeah, that's even worse. He got his bell rung 2 weeks ago. Comes back, gets laid out, and put on a stretcher. This time he'll probably be practicing on Wednesday. With no national outrage, by the way.
It seems like these rules are only applying to the Dolphins for whatever reason, and
that's why I make the point that in any other circumstance and any other team, Tua starts this past week, we win that game. I feel against Minnesota. But it is what it is now. We're 3-3. Season starts now. We're getting QB1 back. Should have TA back. Hopefully Austin Jackson. But I don't know, man. How are you feeling about the season the rest of the way? I mean, let's put the McCaffrey stuff aside. We don't know that that's going to happen. Like with the team that we have now, this roster.
I feel good about this roster. I think this is a really good roster. And, I think now some of the pressure is on. They gotta cut through this little, break that they have in the schedule here, because it kind of dictates it, right? Through 6 weeks, they had the toughest schedule in the NFL. They went 3-3. That's good. Like, we knew what wasn't acceptable. Like, we knew 2-4 was probably not acceptable at all. Okay, and 1-5, of course, was 1-5 was a death knell, because it was last year.
That would have been a hole you couldn't dig out of.
Yeah,
pretty much,
because it wasn't last year. Last year, 1-7 actually. But they won, a billion games in a row. They ended up 9-8. Yeah, but
they won the first game. They lost 7 in a row.
Yeah,
and then they won 7 in a row, and then I think they lost to Tennessee.
Yeah, and then they won the last one against
and then they beat the Patriots handily.
But they missed the playoffs by 1 game, and that 1 game was that Raider game. Like, had they won that Raider game, they would have played Cincinnati on the road in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it cost them the playoffs, starting 1-7. So we knew 1-5 was not going to be a thing. We knew 2-4 was unacceptable, and we knew 3-3 is pretty much what was to be expected. Did you want something a little bit more, extraordinary? I'm on that side. I wanted to win a game without Tua, and for the second year in a row.
Why can't we win without Tua? I mean, obviously Tua is really good, but I mean, is Tua that good, bro? Is Tua that guy? Like, for real? Like, why can we not win without this guy? Doesn't even matter. Flores, McDaniel, it doesn't matter. We can't seem to win.
Yeah, they couldn't breathe enough in the game to like salt away a game and win it. This last one against Minnesota was a special case. They were going to win that game. And Jalen Waddle fumbled, and but like I've said before, and I said it on Twitter, I said it on OnlyFans. You win with your best players, you lose with your best players, and I don't mind losing with my best players. And Jalen Waddle's going to win a lot of games for them. That's just one of those things, man. It just happened that way. Jalen Waddle's, first of all, he breaks that tackle, he's scoring on that play. I don't know if you saw that play, but he just goes down. It's a first down. They're going in, and they might even kill the most of the clock and win right there.
They had figured something out all of a sudden. Like, Teddy doesn't do jack the whole game, and then all of a sudden, and again, and we saw Mike Gesicki going off. Why? Because it's what CK had talked about, what you've talked about. They were behind. They just start running 11 personnel, 11 the whole time, and that's why and not really running the ball. So Mike Gesicki's not having to block. Mike Gesicki's able to do what Mike Gesicki does best. I mean, he had his best game of the season.
Yeah, no, and he looked good, doing it, right? But I'm happy with where they're at, but now the heavy lifting comes. Like, they have to actually now do. So like, where are the extraordinary wins coming from the rest of the way? Like,
I think when we look at the schedule.
Yeah, if you look at the schedule, are they going to be underdogs in both California games? Maybe.
Yeah, but even if they are, San Fran right now, and again, the San Fran game's not for a couple months. San Fran's down 9 of 11 starters on defense. They're back where they were in, like, I don't know, what was it, 2019 or whatever it was, where they were just, and I'm still waiting for the Chargers and their best roster in the NFL to impress me. And I'm still waiting for Justin Herbert to impress me beyond the physical talent. Obviously, the physical talent. I mean, you just watch him make a few of these throws, but I'm still waiting for him to impress me as a quarterback. Well, and I'm still waiting for that team to impress me. I don't know. And Jackson, I mean, J.C. Jackson, he's playing terrible because they took a man cornerback and put him in a zone system. I don't know. I feel like there's some wins there when we looked at the beginning of the season, like, San Fran, Chargers, LL. I mean, we still got a couple months, but I don't know if those are L's. Like, we could go on a real run here. I think we kind of said that a week or two ago, so maybe we should stop saying it. But I feel like we could go on a real run here if we can stay healthy. Well, and we know if 2 is out, we're screwed.
Well, this is the run. This is the run that we kind of envision, right? Like, this is where you're supposed to fatten up, right? And they got to run off a lot of these games in a row, and they're going to need to. But if they do run a lot of these games off in a row, and you start looking around the league, you start looking at schedules, and you just play the favored game. You just play, who's favored and who's not. A lot of these teams that we're looking at, like, oh, they're playing great. They haven't even gotten into the divisions yet. And that's usually when the losses start coming. Hello, Jets. So, once they start playing those guys and the AFC West does another round of playing each other, you're going to find yourself after a 2 or 3 game winning streak, like, wow, man, like we're up here again. So, yeah, this is where they have to fatten up, but they got to find their game. And they kind of found their game, early on in the season, which was essentially just those 2 wide receivers and our quarterback powering the offense. And then the defense, either creating turnovers or creating big plays inside of games. Because that's kind of how they played early on. If they find their game again that way and they could sprinkle in a little bit of the running game, I think they're going to be just fine. So I think that they're fine right now. The most important thing is to start getting healthy. And they're beginning that process. Like, you could see where they could get, they could get right in the next few weeks. Like, you already got X back. You're getting Teron Armstead back soon, probably on Sunday. And, AJ's coming also. So, you could see how the team is going to be healthier, sooner rather than later. Kader Cole, who's coming back.
Yeah, so, I was just going to ask you before we go to some more tweets. We don't no more Needham. He's out.
Yeah.
We're starting to wonder if we're going to see Jones again. Like, he's just not where they want him to be to even start the clock there. And Kohu will be back, right? Didn't Crossan get hurt? When we're concerned, like, oh no, Crossan's out, we know we're going deep into the cornerback roster here. But
no, Crossan got injured, but Mike McDaniel kind of poo-pooed the injury and kind of said, he's a very quick healer. So okay, we shall see.
So what's it gonna look like? We'll have X and Co and we're gonna play Rowe at the.
They can play a lot of those big lineups, with the 3 safeties. Like, that's something they can do. Okay.
Holland played some man this past. Like, do they maybe do some more of that? I know they don't. I know they like him out in the middle of the field, but they're gonna have to mix it up, I guess, right? Which maybe in some ways helps, because it kind of helps confuse the offense a little bit, and especially when you're talking about playing a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that should be interesting when you're talking about playing Pickett. I'm kind of glad that Pickett's coming back. I think part of it is, it's, if you think about it, like it's kind of like Tomlinson's playing this game a little bit. He knows it's a tough season. He probably figures this ain't the year. He's not taking this team to the Super Bowl this year. He put Pickett in as the starter. He gets hurt. Trubisky comes in. They win the game. They beat the Bucs. But now if you roll with Trubisky again, you mess with your rookie's head. A la, let me yank Tua out and put in Ryan Fitzpatrick on a couple games for some magic that happened one time, right? Mm-hmm. And then the play to the throw to the Raiders to Mac Hollins. But you kind of feel like he's not necessarily playing the best quarterback here. But he's doing it because he's not just thinking about one game. He's thinking about the season, and he's thinking about a quarterback that he feels is going to be his quarterback the rest of the way. So this is our chance. Like, Sunday Night Football, man, we got to pounce hard on the Steelers and Pickett. We really do. I don't know how you feel about that, if that's maybe what you think Tomlinson's doing.
I don't know what the hell he's doing, to be honest with you. It seems like, why is he practicing? The only reason why that a quarterback would practice is on the first of all, he's not supposed to, because he said, oh, he's not limited. Well, he's supposed to be limited. He's on the concussion protocol, So I don't know what they're doing. I agree with you. I'd rather face Pickett than Trubisky. Like, Trubisky, he's not great either. Okay.
No, he's not great, but I think he's probably likely to handle Dolphins defense better than Pickett is. Like, that defense has a way to really mess with rookie quarterbacks. Even the great Justin Herbert was like, literally, we heard the quote where the Chargers said, they were in the second half. They were scared to throw the ball, quote unquote. Like they didn't even want to throw it, and they had Justin Herbert, but it was a rookie Justin Herbert. That defense messes with rookies' minds, man. Even down some secondary.
Yeah, and it's about processing, right? Like they force you to process, and the quicker you process for rookies, all they know about is throwing hot. And if all you know how to do is throw hot, like you were taught in college, you're gonna be throwing right at a lot of people against this Dolphin defense, because we tend to drop a lot of people that we don't rush when we bring those 0 looks, right? Because we're not bringing all 9, but we are showing 9 at the line, and then we're going to probably drop 3, and we're going to bring 6. Like that's probably what they're going to do. So yeah, it's hell on earth for a rookie. So I love the face Pickett. I think we face Pickett. The potential is there to completely demolish them. You face Trubisky, you never know, right? Like you never know if he gets a hot hand and you find yourself in a little closer game than you expected, But I do expect them to win this Sunday. Like losing to this team is completely unacceptable. I think
it is. It would make me re-examine where we are right now. Doesn't mean that we couldn't write it at 3-4, but 3-4 and losing to the Steelers at home, against a rookie quarterback or Trubisky. I can't.
One of those.
I can't buy into us if that happens.
Look, the NFL schedules wins for people all year. They're giving you a game here. Okay, they scheduled a loss for you when they forced you to go on a short week to Cincinnati. You know what I mean? When Cincinnati was going to wear their uniforms, they were going to celebrate their Super Bowl team. Like it was a whole thing. Like they greased the skids for the Dolphins to lose that game. Oddly enough, I think if Tua doesn't get hurt, I think they win that game, by the way.
I agree, even though it was kind of set up for us to lose. I think we really had a much better chance for sure. Manny, you got any what else you got for us, sir, on posts or tweets or there we go. All right, we're feeling good. Still 3-3 with plenty of football left. There were so many issues the last 3 weeks. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Tua's back in the O-line. I love it. Tua's back. Yeah, that's right. We'll stick to that narrative. Tua's back in the O-line at the very least. Will be healthy and stable. On to the Steelers. I agree. Is this a must-win game, Alf? I'm just going to put it on the line.
There are no such things as must-win games in week 7 unless you're like, 1-5.
Actually, like 0-6 or 1-5 or something.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Panthers. And you're still thinking you're in this.
Yeah, that's a must win. But if you're 3-4, if you're 3-3, you don't have a must win yet. Now, do you want a win to set yourself up for later on? Yeah, these are one of the games that you're counting on. So yeah, for that, absolutely. Like you want to win 11 or 12, yeah, you need this game. Like if you want to win 11 or 12 games, I don't see how you get to 11 or 12 games if you don't win this one. Because I think. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I would venture to guess they got to go undefeated at home the rest of the way because I think it sets up for them. I believe they're going to be favored in every single home game the rest of the way. Okay? So
here, let's I'll bring it up real quick here. I got it.
Which is 5 games, okay? It's right. It's 5 games, right?
Steelers at home, right?
That's 1.
How many times have we played at home already?
3.
3? Okay, yeah. Because it's 8 at home and 9 on the road. Thanks, NFL. But I guess 50-50, right? Somebody's got to get the 9, somebody's got to get the 8. So we got Steelers at home, then we got Lions on the road. That's an interesting – that team is so interesting. I don't even know what to think.
They're play just exciting so all games.
Over the place. They do play exciting games. I expect
But they tend to lose a lot.
they lose them, but I expect it to be an exciting game. I really
think so, too. I think so too. I don't think they're going to be a pushover.
There's 2 teams that really don't know each other, players that don't know each other. I don't know if there's really any connection. I don't think there's really any connection with coaching staffs. Like, McDaniel, he's had some connections with some of the coaching staffs, like obviously with the Jets and whatnot. But that should be interesting. You got Bears on the road.
The only connection is that 2 years ago, we ended Jared Goff's career.
That's the thing. You know what? I didn't even think about that. This defensive scheme in general, whatever it is, man,
destroys Jared Goff.
It just destroys Goff. He just doesn't play well.
That was the day that Sean McVay decided, you know what? we got to get rid of him. We're moving off of Jared Goff.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't been terrible against the Lions, but I expect him to be terrible again against the Dolphins because he just, for whatever reason, he just doesn't do well against this particular defense. Not just our defense; it's the defensive scheme. We saw what defense. Flores / Belichick or Steve Belichick or whoever it was calling the defense in the Super Bowl did to him, and then a year or two later, maybe it was the next year when we played him again when he was with the Rams, and we just made him look. I mean, he looked just as bad, and we didn't even really have as good a defense. So that should be interesting. Then we play the Bears on the road. I mean, that's got to be a win. Then we play the Browns at home. The Browns just have so much talent, but they'll still have Jacoby Brissett. Let's see, Cap for Life Sunday night. This is not the afternoon. Don't expect the sun to bail us out. I don't know. I never expect the sun to bail us out. I always hear every single week we're at home that the sun's going to bail us out. And it's really happened. Well, it didn't bail us out, but it was an assistance for sure against the Bills. So we got the Browns at home. Then the Texans at home. Then December 4th starts, and that's where the season gets interesting. You got the Niners on the road, the Chargers on the road, which you got. I wish we could be playing the Niners and the Chargers like now. Like us at full strength, minus the secondary issues. I wish we could play them right now because the Chargers are just, they won last night, but they're still trying to figure it out, I guess. I don't know. And the Niners are just so beat up. I wish we could play them. Then we play the Bills, which I said on Twitter, as you know, I said we had Josh Allen figured out. Oh, man. I don't know if you've seen. But needless to say, Bills fans didn't like that very much when I said that. Man, I'll find that tweet for you real quick, Manny. We're not going to go through the tweet. I just want you to see just how triggered. When you see all the comments and everything, you'll freak. But then we have Packers at home Christmas Day. I love us in that game. I loved us in that game when the schedule came out. I don't know why, but I just did. Then the Patriots on the road. Then the Jets. Man,
the Packers. I think the Packers. You figure the Packers are going to get better as the season moves on, though.
Yeah, but normally they get better early, right? Like they kind of mess around for a game or two, and then they get better. We've seen them lose to the Giants. We've seen them barely scrape by. I don't remember if it was on home or I think it was at home against the Patriots and their third string quarterback. They just lost to the Jets. I mean, we lost to the Jets, but they just lost to the Jets at home. So when are they getting better? I mean, they clearly see that they have an issue at wide receiver. If they put it out there, hey, we're in the market for wide receivers. Throw us some offers here. We might be interested in your guy. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We'll see if they get better. I think we have a good chance. If we play like our best football, if Tua stays healthy and TA stays healthy, I think we could just lose maybe 2 more games. Do you think that's unrealistic? You think to just lose 2 more games the rest of the way? Am I being too biased?
That's them at their absolute best with getting like a lot of injury luck and a lot of health to do that. I think I would have believed that had they won this last one against Minnesota. But to get to 12-5, I think you got to give them 3 more losses somehow. So 11-6, I feel really comfortable with 11-6 the rest of the way, which is what I predicted from the beginning. But health above all. If they're healthy, they're going to win enough games. But it starts right here. Like they're set up to run off these games right here, and it's before that trip to Los Angeles where they're probably going to stay out there for 2 weeks in California to go to those 2 games. So it's going to be interesting, but. Yeah, this is where it's at. Like, this is where they have to go. They have to fatten up here. Like, this is the part of the schedule. Like, all of us figured that out from day one, And we're actually getting a little luck, okay? Because before the season started, some people were thinking, you know what? Steelers might be, like, pretty good, And this might be a real showdown game. Well, we've seen, Steelers are kind of putrid. no matter what they did this past week, and by beating the Bucks. Bucks weren't all that great either.
The
But,
Bucks haven't been all that great, and Brady has not played well the entire season. I
And
wonder.
the Steelers,
I mean, I would never count that guy out because, my Lord, every time you do, the guy just shows up. But you start to wonder. Eventually, it was going to happen, right?
yeah, it was going to come. Like it was going to
Yeah.
happen. And that's another thing about the Steelers, man. They're missing important players. Minka Fitzpatrick didn't play this last game. I don't know if he's going to play this week. Cam Hayward's been in and out of the lineup.
Doesn't look like TJ Watt's going to play. He just had some kind of cleanup in his shoulder.
Yeah, TJ Watt's not playing. Like, we know that for a fact. I think he's coming back like in a couple of weeks. So that's a huge help, okay? Because the Steelers, with their defense at full strength, okay, that puts them in the conversation. Like, they could keep the game close enough where it could get a little interesting. But no, not in this case. Like, now is when they have to fatten up. So now they have a little bit of pressure. But there's no pressure at all if they just play their game. They just play their game and they start to get healthy. Those wins are going to just come. And they have the right mentality. Like, these guys, like you saw Teron Armstead's tweet during the week. Like,
Yeah, I loved that tweet, man. I loved it. And he actually quote tweeted Josh Houts, which was cool. You know what I mean? That was pretty cool. I like to see the Dolphins people, man. I like to see them get their due with, and as I said on Twitter, that something else that triggered the Bills fans, you don't have to jump through tables to get attention. Sometimes, you can just do good work. So yeah, man, he looked he looked positive. He looked right.
They have like they have a pretty good like demeanor about the team right now.
I don't think they're worried. And I think that comes from two people, Tua and McDaniel. I think both of those guys give them if you think about the personalities, right? Yes, Tua's not real jokey and jovial, but if you think about Tua's just like a really calm dude. He's just naturally calm. It's not like, oh, I got to be calm. It's not like, when stuff's going on in your life, you're like, oh, I got to be strong for my family. I got to be strong for this. And so you force yourself to do it. It's just kind of naturally how Tua is. It's just the way he is. And McDaniel, he acts like, even though this is the first time being a head coach, he feels like, man, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've started on a new regime with 6 different teams. I've seen it all. I've seen losing streaks, winning streaks, everything in between. Lose quarterbacks, lose your players, lose your best defensive players, everything. So I feel like even though he's a new head coach, he's not new to this game. He gets it. He understands that just stuff happens. So I think between those two, you really just got this calmness. A lot of the players on the team last year, remember that they lost 7 in a row, and then they won 7 in a row. And then, TA too, man, he's just a leader. It's just different. I feel like that's part of why. What else you got for us, Manny? What else you got, man? Got some more tweets for us, sir. I'm sure. All right. Might be the only one that's not angry. I expected worse, to be honest. Take away the penalties and we win that game. We had almost 70 yards on a drive where we were at the 29. Defense was really good, except for one big catch and one big run. Offense looked decent with Teddy. It looked decent with Teddy in like the fourth quarter. It's Tua time. You had a stat on 3 yards per carry, I think, Alf, about how many yards Skylar got taken away from him.
Yeah, it was
on the other
70.
side of the 50.
Yeah, it was almost. I never knew that it was possible to throw for 70 yards from the 40-yard line in, but yeah, he managed to do it. It was. And look, and I know it's fashionable. I just posted it because I thought it was ridiculous. I posted the whole sequence on Twitter, and people started bitching about. Look, man, all those penalties were legitimate. Every single one of them. Like, you could have argued a little bit about the Liam Eichenberg takedown, because usually a ref will pick up that flag when the ball is away and then the takedown happens, which kind of makes the takedown even dumber than it was, right? So I don't know, man. I looked at that and it was odd. It was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen happen in the game.
I felt, just because I felt so piled on from the NFL, right? Like I felt so piled on from the NFL.
Yeah, like
the Tua stuff, just everything.
Yeah, like you tend to not believe them. Like it's one of those things. Like you know what? I don't believe you anymore.
But as they would replay them, I was like, yeah, they were penalties, man. They were penalties. Now Mike McDaniel mentioned he's like, that's sometimes when you see that happen, that's players pressing. They feel like, oh, I gotta make this play, man. I gotta put it all on my shoulders. And he always emphasizes, maybe nobody emphasizes it better than Bill Belichick about just doing what you're supposed to do and don't try and press. Just do your job. I know I hate saying it, but just do your job. So I wonder if maybe they were pressing there, but man,
that's always been my thinking. You know what I mean? Like it's always been my idea, and it's always been my theory on penalties that it's players pressing when they really don't need to. You know, it's like trying to make a play when there is none, and I guess that's what they got in this case. You know what I mean? But you know, I would like to see them play a little bit more within themselves. But yeah, absolutely, those were 5 penalties. You know, there's no way around it.
What can Miami do about Eichenberg? I mean, the guy's he's struggling, man. Yeah, he's struggling. It's rough right now. And didn't we hear our offensive coordinator, Frank Smith, say, we don't like to cross-train guys. So does that mean you don't even consider Dieter at guard? You just go ahead and say, Dieter's a backup center. That's it. The only time you're going to see Dieter is if Williams can't go. I mean, who do we have that can play guard? I mean, what are we doing here, man? We got
in a perfect world, right? Let's say in a perfect world, you have the Greg Little that played those 2 games against the Bills and the Ravens
before you got the hand injury,
right? And then you just plug in AJ at left guard and then call it a day, But that's not what we have right now.
No, Greg Little, what was it? What was the rating? I mean, it's PFF or whatever.
Yeah, it's
1.5.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. A lot of those ratings.
Don't you get at least 5 points for just showing up?
Yeah, you get.
I think you get 5
at the top of the paper. Yeah, you get 5 points for writing your name. Yeah.
Oof.
But it's a lot of those PFF ratings, like I don't get, and then somebody posted something today about how they do coverage ratings, because look, man, I know what I watched, okay, and I know what I'm looking at, and for whatever reason, Xavier Howard had a bad rating against the Vikings.
Yeah, he got tripped up on a pick on that one play. I wonder
Dude,
if it was because of that.
Look, yeah, that little switch release, man, it's a bitch, man. And you got to take a certain angle on it. And if it's run perfectly and the Vikings ran it perfectly, like it's going to free up a guy. Like, and if the ball is delivered on time, it's going to be a gainer. So, that was pretty much the only play he gave up. The touchdown he gave up at the back of the end zone. Like, you can't have a guy running around forever back there. Okay, that's on your defense to get to the quarterback before he can deliver that pass. I thought, other than that, X actually played a really, really good game against the Vikings.
Clearly a better defense when he's there, even without Jones.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
The difference. He's a huge difference, man. When we don't have X, or we have X that's injured, like by the second half of that Cincinnati game, clearly they were picking on him. They knew that he wasn't the same guy. Man, it's just. The whole defense. I think I said before, maybe last week or the week before, I said to you, one of my biggest concerns of the defense is they seem to fall apart without 2 all-star corners. Well, now I got to kind of change that. I think they fall apart when they don't have X. That's when they fall apart. They can do without having X and Jones, but when they don't have X, man, the whole thing just doesn't work.
Yeah, they've had a couple of games that that you look at this defense and you're like, yeah, this is how they were designed to play. That was completely heroic against the Bills. That was a spectacular performance. And, whoever doesn't recognize it as
that's because we have Josh Allen figured out. Ain't that right, Alf?
It kind of looked like they had him figured out in that game, right? Because they dropped three picks, at least.
They dropped at least 3 picks. 4 to 5, maybe. At least 3 picks.
But there was 3 that hit 2 hands.
I mean, 2 hand like this. I mean, that's why they're defensive players, right?
Yeah. So I'm not worried about the defense, man. Just health, man. Just get health, and just get your quarterback healthy, and then get to your game, because your game is good enough, and a lot of these teams that they're going to be facing going forward, they can't handle these games. I see somebody like, I'd be interested to see, what's Minkah Fitzpatrick's situation for this week. Is he still out for this week?
I'm not sure. Do you know anything? Do you have any information on Ogba and what's going on there?
On Emmanuel Ogba, on his play?
No, he was out some of the game. Did he come back?
Yeah, he returned to the game.
Okay.
But I don't know what's going on with him.
But Waddle returned to the game, and now we're hearing that maybe he'll be out a few weeks, possibly, or maybe not miss at all. It seems very up in the air.
Yeah, on Waddle, they're being cryptic about it, and nobody's saying anything. Yeah, Minkah Fitzpatrick has back-to-back DNPs. Among those ruled out 4 days ago. I don't know. There's nothing on Minkah Fitzpatrick yet, it seems.
I guess tomorrow, right? Because Wednesday is when the first injury report has to kick out.
Yeah, tomorrow is the most important day as far as injuries. On Waddle, I thought it was extremely interesting how the media didn't even ask on Monday, because the coach kind of basically poo-pooed it right away. He kind of said, no, Waddle's okay. He returned to the game, So, like, he was kind of saying, he's just fine. He doesn't have
to say anything till tomorrow, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Then
like, he has an injury. Like, maybe he has an injury. Maybe he has to miss some time. Maybe he doesn't have to miss some time. So it's up in the air right now, right?
I mean, it's all gamesmanship. I think people get annoyed. Oh, I can't believe they sit there and I've seen people mad. They lie to us about injury. It's not about lying to us about injuries. It's just about gamesmanship for your opponent. You want them thinking, hey, we got to prep in case Waddle plays, or we got to prep in case this guy plays or that guy plays, or whatever it is. It's a little different with quarterback, because with quarterback, you got game plan, you got, they got to take all the snaps. I understand with quarterback, can't always be cryptic. You got to say, okay, this is the quarterback. But there's just nothing wrong with that. I know people get aggravated about it, but it's what you should do. You don't want your coach out there on Monday saying, hey, Tomlinson, here you go. I just emailed you the list of the guys that aren't playing. So here you go. You know what I mean? Like, is that what you want? Because that's not what they should be doing if you want a coach that's doing his job. I mean, come on. I don't never understood why people get so annoyed by that. Well, I tell you what, we're getting here close to the hour mark. Manny, if you could find, I just put in the tweet just for shits and giggles. I put in that tweet I said about us figuring out Josh Allen. And while you're looking for that, Manny, what is your prediction, sir? We won't go through I'll have you pick an MVP. How about that? I won't make you do all the stuff okay, here you go. So there you go. So you got 37 reshoots. So 183 quote tweets, 651 likes. But the thing it's not showing is this thing has now over 800 comments. Talk about triggered Bills fans from this. I mean, come on, man. Look at this tweet. This couldn't have been a more bait, right? Like, clearly, this is a bait tweet. I mean, so far the analytics on it is 280,000 impressions. I mean, I'm telling you, I had to mute the tweet. Like, it was just, it had happened. Like, I tweeted it and it was just kind of fine. It was a little this, a little that, whatever. And there was a Bills fan here or there. And then they just started destroying my mentions. They were so mad. And now they're even going into the other tweet, like stuff that that has nothing to do with them. That doesn't say Bills. It doesn't say Josh Allen. It doesn't say anything. And it's just, they went nuts, man. Over 800 comments so far. Maybe it's over 900 now, man. I don't know. I just turned it off. I couldn't look at it anymore.
The sentiment behind that tweet, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine if the Dolphins beat the Bills in Buffalo?
Oh man, I'll spend by then it'll be 2,000 comments. I'll spend the rest of December going through and trolling all those people.
Yeah, what we gotta do is we'll start and we'll conspire. Okay, like I'll
Yeah.
send you a DM on OnlyFins or whatever, and I said, look, let's start coordinating all our tweets, talking about how do we massage the seedings so we could get Buffalo for a third time. Because they're the easiest matchup for us.
Yeah,
like I'll
hilarious.
start conspiring to put out tweets like that. Like Bills fans don't understand how good we're gonna be at trolling them if we beat them one more time.
Yeah, man, they were so triggered. It was hilarious. Like I don't care. I don't like some people. I don't get Charmin soft because people get like saucy with me on Twitter. I mean that's kind of what. Let's face it. It's kind of what Twitter's for anymore, right?
Yeah.
All right, Alf, go ahead and give me maybe like your MVP of this game and give me your prediction. I know you think Dolphins are going to win, but what do you think the score is going to be?
I think I'll give you the MVP. It'll be Tua Tagovailoa. Okay. I think he's going to have a great game, maybe even 4 touchdowns or something like that. I think the Dolphins win comfortably. If I'll give you an idea, okay? If Trubisky plays, they win by 12 or 13. They win by 13, let's say. Trubisky plays, they win. Actually, make it 14. 27-13, okay? If Pickett plays, they win by more. Let's call it 30-10 if Pickett plays. But either way, I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to have a great game. He's had this one circled for months. Okay. And for obvious reasons. I think he's going to be really focused to play his best game. And I think a lot of his teammates are going to want to play their best game for him. Okay.
And
so
I think the funny part about this game, too, is obviously Tomlinson's going to go to Flores and say, hey, this guy better than anybody. Assist us some in this game plan. Obviously, completely different offense, but assist us some in this game plan with Tua and what his tendencies are. Clearly, Flores didn't know Tua or know what he did good and what he didn't do good, or he wouldn't have thought Jacoby Brissett was better when clearly he wasn't. So good. I hope you go to Flores and have him help with the game plan because that'll be the most trash game plan we ever saw, in my opinion. Because you don't know Tua, you don't know what he.
But
does.
you're gonna know right away because first of all, one thing that a lot of people don't understand, and you're gonna know this right away if Brian Flores has an influence or not on the game plan. Their defensive coordinator is Terrell Austin. Terrell Austin is considered one of the better defensive coordinators in the league, but he really made his name as a secondaries coach. He is considered the best teacher and best coach of secondary players in the NFL. Terrell Austin's defense is so unlike Brian Flores's that it might as well be 2 different sports. Like Terrell Austin likes to be conservative. Like his idea of the perfectly called defense is where he gets pressure on you with 4 and maximum 5 and only blitzes about 4 or 5 times in an entire game and then plays zone 85% of the time. Like that's what Terrell Austin considers a great call defense. It is completely opposite of what Brian Flores would do. So if you see that the Steelers start playing a lot of cover 6 and a lot of showing a lot of zero looks all of a sudden, then the Brian Flores had a heavy influence on the game plan and the matchup.
Okay. All right, so my prediction is 35-10. And I'm just not going to be different. It's Tua. Tua's the MVP. I'm picking the same MVP. It's Tua. I think 35-10. I think we run away with this. I really do. If the Steelers weren't as beat up, like if TJ Watt's playing and stuff like that, I don't go that crazy with the score. But I just think that at home Sunday night, I think we're going to make it happen. I think Tua's going to make it happen. Going to show the NFL that he's back. And, especially if we have TA back, that's really going to help as well. So that's my prediction, 35-10. And all right, that's it. We're going to wrap it up. Again, we are sponsored by Prize Picks. use the promo code. You got the hat on there, Alf. FIVE. Go in there and get your. I don't know if they still have the Brady for 1 yard or what it is, but
they have Steph Curry for one point today. So take it today. Like,
Oh yeah, there you go. You got NBA. Can you mix NBA and NFL and stuff like that, or no? You gotta.
Yes, you can. You can mix everything. You can mix golf. Wow. You can mix baseball, hockey, everything.
So you just take 5 of whatever.
Boxing. Yeah,
that's funny.
Or 2, or you could take 2 of whatever and then play that together. Which that's gonna help you tonight. Like, you take Steph Curry. They're giving you a free square. Take the over on Steph Curry. Unless you think he's gonna go scoreless tonight. All right. I don't think that's happening. All right.
No, probably not.
So take Steph Curry over tonight and then, put him together with a couple of other guys. I actually have one going right now. I got PJ Tucker over 5.5 points. He has 0 right now in the first quarter, by the way. And then I got LeBron tonight over 8 rebounds to go with the Steph Curry play. So we shall see. But yeah, play that one tonight for sure.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate everybody's patience with me hosting a show. I actually don't think I've hosted a podcast since, believe it or not, I had Miko Grimes on my podcast years ago. Man, that was a shit show. I baited her. I totally baited her. Told her, you won't come on my podcast. She did. That was crazy. That's out there somewhere in the internet if you want to go look for it. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. Take it easy, and we'll see you next Tuesday.